Well, so where's the best place to kill that bird? I say 45-degree angle. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, in fact, I think invariably, and I'm very guilty of it, and I'll probably do it today, is one tends to sometimes shoot too late, but the 45 is, a shotgun will hit much further than you realise, and people are scared of often shooting a bird early enough, and invariably they take their first shot here and then they're scrabbling for their second. Yeah. And I hope I don't shoot like that today, but I may well do.
So when you've got your cartridges in the gun, when you've got that, how do you know? Obviously you can hear those birds.
Sometimes we'll hear a cheer from the beaters. Some shoot the beaters are silent, some shoots the beaters cheer, but you'll normally hear the wing noise of the pheasant, or sometimes they'll call.
Perfect. I mean, I like to say, when you see a bird in the distance, I like to put my gun there, because there's no point having the gun there, because that bird could come to him, could come to your neighbours, and the last thing you want to do is go and shoot your neighbour's bird, unless that's your best friend.
Yes.
And bearing in mind, he will probably do it back to you. But if you're on a day where you don't know any of those people and you go and drop a pheasant right at his feet, it's not the etiquette, is it?
No, and I think also the risk when you mount too early is you tend to try and ambush the bird rather than swinging. So if your gun's already up and on the bird, you tend to just think, I'll shoot it there, and you have no movement in the gun. So I think right with you mount it at the last minute and keep the swing going. I think there's such a risk of poking at a bird and not swinging if you mount the gun too early.
Okay, all we're going to do is we're just going to shoot nice basic driven pheasant, driven clay, which is like exactly what a driven pheasant, an average driven pheasant should be, and you should be able to hit that. Let's see if we can both shoot that at a 45-degree angle. Just before we start, so you've got two cartridges in the gun. When you get on that peg, what's the etiquette of shooting at one cartridge? Or
yes, if your second shot's safe and it's still within range, you don't, as you say a bit earlier, we're desperate not to wound an animal. So if your second shot's in range, then yes, it's perfectly etiquette to fire two shots.
We both all like to hit it with the first barrel,
yes.
But it doesn't always happen.
No, it doesn't always happen.
So, etiquette of ejecting cartridges. On clay grounds, a lot of people, you see people catching the cartridges.
It's actually better to let them go because there's a risk of damaging the springs if you hold your hand too close. You should let them fly. Obviously, if you have a family member standing beside you, make sure they stand on your left so that they don't, because they can go some distance. And obviously at the end of the drive, you do pick up your cartridges so you don't leave them in the field.
And you can also get those sort of
yes.
those magnetic things
yes.
that you can pick them up. So I'll have a couple more, and then we'll see if you can hit it.
No chance.
Well. Oh, cool. Now you'll go. Let's see if you can hit it. Well, shoot a bit earlier. "45-degree angle.
I know.
Pull. That's better. Pull.
Shouldn't have done. Oh, it's bad.
Now,
Rushed it.
nobody ever wants it to happen with them. If you've never done it and you get that first bird of that day and you go on it and you miss it and you think to yourself, oh my God, everyone's watching me. How can...
Yeah, it is always worrying, especially if you're shooting with friends, I think you're a bit more relaxed. If you're on a shoot, you haven't met the people, then the pressure is on you perhaps to perform a bit higher than you normally would. And you've just got to put it out of your mind, because we've all been there and missed the first bird of the day. And you just got to try and block it and relax and just remember what to do, relax and swing and just let it all happen naturally.
And I always say to somebody, if you've got a driven pheasant coming out like that, and I always think to yourself, come from behind it and think to yourself, bum, belly, beak, bang.
Absolutely, every time.
And that is generally the best way. In a way, you should be able to shoot any target like that, because if you've got a target going like that or a target like that, I move that with you, or a target going like that, you've got to be able to come from the target, overtake it. You've got to judge that speed of that bird as you do it, because it's in the heat of the moment, and you just come from behind it, overtake it, and pull the trigger like that. Any other way that you could, any other little tips that you could give somebody?
No, I think that's the best advice. And it's always, when I'm teaching people, it's always trying to remind people to keep the gun moving. It's so different from rifle shooting where the gun is static. A shotgun, you've got lots of pellets and you've got to keep it moving.
Let's just have another look. It will change a little bit now.
Pull. Oh, that was a difficult bird. Oh, those are difficult.
That needs a fair bit of leading.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm way behind them. Pull. No. No.
You are. Is you over the top of it?
Over the top.
Little tip, when you mount the gun, don't ram it in your shoulder, touch your cheek.
Just touch the cheek. Yeah, I'm ramming it too hard.
Go on. Now, obviously we both helped each other a little bit there. What can you say about that?
Yeah, no, I was just behind it and not giving it enough lead. You've got to remember shotgun pellets are quite slow and you've got to give a bird a lot of lead. And being a bit rusty, having picked up a gun for a few months, I was definitely a bit behind it.
And when you're shooting clays, do you think clays are easier than game?
It depends when you take a clay. If it's still accelerating, then it's very realistic. If you shoot it when it's slowing, then it's not realistic.
A lot of people say to me that midi clays are really probably the best clay to simulate a game bird. And a lot of people say to me, they come here and they say, oh yeah, I can shoot game better than I can clay. The one difference that I'd say is when you shoot clays, generally you're scoring. When you shoot game shooting, you're not. So and because it's an adrenaline, you always remember the ones you hit, you don't remember the ones you miss.
No, that's very true. And pheasants are unpredictable and clays are predictable. And so once you've found a clay, invariably, if it's the same stand, you'll nail them every time.
And you don't call Paul for a pheasant. Exactly. You can't say, Mr. Pheasant, stay there and just come out there.
Come out when I want you, exactly. And I think going back to your point of small shoots, that's the great thing, because if pheasants are coming over you in clouds, where is the adrenaline? It's very predictable. But if you've been standing for 10 minutes and you haven't had anything, and suddenly you've got a pheasant, then that's where the excitement comes to me. Thank you. I'm out.
When I go out shooting, it does help me just before I'm going to go game shooting, just to go and shoot a little bit of sort of driven-y stuff, just to get yourself back into the swing. What do you think about that?
I don't know, I think that's really important. It's really worth doing, because I find sometimes if I just go straight out for a season, sometimes I'm mounting badly, I'm not mounting on my shoulder properly, somewhere down my arm, in the adrenaline and the rush and the excitement. So I think it's very good just to come and have a day out and settle yourself back in again.
So majority of sort of game shooters, they put the gun away on 1st of February,
Yes.
And they don't pick it up till
Exactly.
August. So just keep your gun out and keep sort of popping away all the way through the year, really.
Yep. And it just becomes natural then, rather than a bit of a scrabble the first day out.